And by the way, yesterday I was sent maybe 16 or 20 pictures from our time in Simachalam, the temple, the Nrsimha temple, because it was Nrsimha Chaturdasi. And Priyanana from Thailand, she sent a bunch of photographs from when we went up to Simhachalam. And I heard, if any of you heard Guru Maharaj's talk, one of those 2 talks that were on the web, scmap.com, that are linked there for the Nrsimha Chaturdasi, the day before yesterday maybe. Then one of those talks, Guru Maharaj mentions about when he went to that same temple of Simachalan. And Guru Maharaj mentioning 1,200 steps. We didn't count them, but we know there were many. But Guru Maharaj mentioned there are 1,200 steps to that temple. And 1,000 steps to another temple, maybe Ahovalam, possibly, another temple of Nrsimhadev in South India, which he said was much more remote. And Guru Maharaj said at that time in the 1930s, when he was there, he said that time it was very dangerous with tigers and wild animals that were around. Anyway, we saw your photograph there, Paramananda Prabhu's photograph there, Keshavananda, the various devotees that were with us on that pilgrimage. This was in the year 2020, would you believe, before we knew anything about the virus. Just see. Okay, devotees, welcome. Chinmoy Dev Prabhu, very good to see you with us. Jai, you're looking very smart, Chinmoy Dev Prabhu. Yes, yes, almost shaven. Pretty good. And Kumkum Devidasi with us. I saw you yesterday. I saw you your morning, and now I see you your evening, perhaps, in San Jose.
Wonderful way to start and end the day, Maharaj.
Well, it's a wonderful day for us all. Here we're starting our day, so it is a wonderful day for us to start our day this way. And Chintamani Devidasi, Dandavat, and Jai Dev Prabhu somewhere nearby in thought, if not beside you. And Sevarupa Devidasi and Kaila sleeping maybe. It is 4 a.m. there in South Africa too. And Paramananda Prabhu is, oh look, there's Kaila. Even Lord Brahma sleeps. But when he sleeps, so do we. We'll know it or we won't know it, put it another way, when he sleeps, the time of the pralaya. And Paramananda Prabhu always shedding light. And there not only sunlight, but devotional light from Paramananda Prabhu. And looking after us all, Parameshwari Devidasi. Praneshwari. My mind in 2 places. Praneshwari Devidasi looking after us all. And whenever we think of Praneshwari Devidasi, whenever I think of her, I think of the Maha Mantra. The Maha Mantra Prabhu, her son. Thank you, Mother. Jai, what good association we had in Navadi, and we had a tiny office, but there Maha Mantra Prabhu staying. And actually, he took over that office in 2011, which was very good. Or end of 2011, I think it must be. Then that was his office and not my office anymore, the little office in the back. Jai
You trained him,
Prabhu.
Maharaj. He's very, very thankful.
And he's a special soul. And humility, tolerance, giving honor to others, we saw in Mahamantra Prabhu naturally. He wasn't forcing it, he was that, or not, he not was, not in the past, is, he is that. The natural nature of the Vaishnavas. Okay, we're 5 minutes in, and so let us give our obeisances to each other and greet each other this way. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. And another associate of Mahamantra Prabhu, who he knows very well, we had a special guest yesterday for our Italian, or I'm a guest, their Italian program, their Italian evening program. We had Prafulla Krishna Prabhu, who, like Mahamantra, is also very tall. And Prafulla Krishna Prabhu from Brazil, he was our guest, and he was saying, Prabhu, I'm not good to speak in public or anything. I said, Prabhu, it's just the Italian family, come and join us. And anyway, he came, and he was a riot, as they say. He was also Mahamantra Prabhu knows him very well. But he's forgotten all his Italian, which was good for me, because he spoke entirely in English. And we had some simultaneous Italian translation running. But as most or not, maybe most, it seems to be, Brazilians are, they seem to be all Italian, either this lifetime born in Italy or the previous one generation, or if not, previous 2 generations from Italy. So they fit in very well. Anyway, wonderful remembrance from so many things with Gurudev yesterday. Whatever helps us remember, then that is very good for us. Hare Krishna, Jayananda Prabhu, Govinda, Govinda, Dandavat, Dandavat. Please take care while driving, 2 hands on the wheel. Okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. All right, we've come together. We've given our obeisances, and let's give a quick jai, big jai, to Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Big jai, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rokhok Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Big jai to Shinga Guru, Lion Guru, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki jai. And Jai Shri Rupanuga Guru Vaga ki jai, Vishwaran Shri A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. And all our Chaitanya Saraswati Acharya Vrinda ki jai. So with our head at the feet of all of our Rupanuga Guru Vaga, and the head at the feet of the devotees, let us try to remind ourselves of some of the basics of Krishna consciousness. Who has something in their pocket for us today? May we ask Jivana, because we've been missing Jivana a few times. And either we can ask you now, or you can, if you don't have something in your pocket, you can put something in your pocket and we can ask you in a short while. But Jivana, I think you always have something in your pocket to share.
I did have to do homework, Maharaj. You always make us do homework. So I've been reading the Loving Search for the Lost Servant. So I thought there was a nice something from Prahlad Maharaj. So I thought that would be appropriate, if that sounds okay.
That sounds very, very okay, Jivana, please, yes.
Okay, yeah, so it's from that book, The Loving Search for the Lost Servant, and it's just saying how that Prahlad's demoniac father, of course, his idea about the environment was falsified. This is a very nice way for Guru Maharaj to put it. But Prahlad's deeper vision saw reality correctly, and it says that he saw that Krishna is everywhere, and Krishna consciousness is commanding the whole. So we must not allow ourselves to be discouraged under any circumstances, however acute they may apparently seem to us. Krishna is there. As much as the circumstances appear to oppose us, it is really not so. If only we can develop the right vision, the smiling face of the Lord will appear from behind the screen. That is Krishna consciousness. Krishna is beautiful, and he is eagerly awaiting to accept our services. And I had heard that someone once asked Srila Guru Maharaj, they were in Navadvip and they were wondering what service can I do here? And you correct us if it's wrong, Maharaj, but I heard that Guru Maharaj said, your service is to correct your vision.
Nothing for me to correct, Jivana.
Oh,
I mean, there is plenty for me to correct, but not in your statement. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Not in your statement. It seemed like you were waiting for a correction.
Yeah, I don't want to say something if somebody else can't verify it as well.
Verified.
Just to check myself. Okay.
Okay. Would you like to say more?
That was what I wanted to say for today.
Right. And that really is classic Srila Guru Maharaj, correcting our vision to harmonize with the environment. And elsewhere, Guru Maharaj saying, we must never consider that we are a victim. Victims because of somebody else, because of some other circumstances, and this has happened to me. This has happened to me. We are the cause of our own situations. So yes, the correct angle of vision. But how just purely honest Prahlad Maharaj was to Hiranyakashipu, to his father, when he's answering his father about, okay, so what was the best thing you've learned? And then he could have been diplomatic and, said something else. But the best thing is devotional service to Krishna, is the be all and end all of life. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, etc. And he's so bold. And in the translation that we have, it's Prahlad Maharaj is saying, and fools like you who identify with the body and just work hard for material gains, ... And I haven't analyzed the Sanskrit on that one, but he was quite bold to his father. And Hiranyakashipu did get a little angry with his son. But amazing how Prahlad Maharaj saw the environment, the correct reading of the environment in the sense of the Lord's hand is behind everything. Oh yes, really that's so wonderful. The whole of the 7th canto, not only those 3 or 4 which have Prahlad's name attached to it, but the whole of the 7th canto is all about the glories of Prahlad Maharaj and his nature. And some of it is about Nrsingadev's nature too. Not Nrsingadev, Hiranyakashipu's nature. I mean, some of it is definitely about Hiranyakashipu's nature. But that's just to enhance Prahlad Maharaj's nature. And then, of course, some of it is about Nrsingadev's nature. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, have you ever seen Prahlad Maharaj's Gurukula ashram in Nepal?
Prahlad Maharaj's Gurukul ashram in Nepal. I didn't even know it existed, what to speak of seeing it.
Yeah, I was there for a while. There's actually one of our friends of Shanta Maharaj and Muni Maharaj. He's kind of a Swami, has his own thing. He's a young Swami that it has a group of it's beautiful. It's like where 2 rivers meet, and there's a very steep cliff there that was the cliff where he was suspected of throwing off, because I did notice there's a lot of like bushes down below that maybe those were, the arms of Vishnu or was it directly the arms of Vishnu or Krishna that caught him, or at the time when he was thrown? You remember that pastime at all?
Oh yes, I mean we remember it. Anyhow,
And when I was Go
I
ahead,
didn't
Mark.
even know it existed, so that's interesting to know. And of course, a lot of these things, just like a lot of the places, and in Navadip indeed, we need to get a little verification from somewhere, because we know that stories do grow with quite often with monetary interest. Be polite. So,
but there wasn't a Shringadev temple on the land that was destroyed in the earthquake back a few years ago, and so they've been, so it might have been it's very old wood and materials that they were going to use to rebuild the new temple, actually.
Okay.
But so there may be some legitimacy with that. And it's actually called the Shringadam, the place where not far away where the palace of Hiranyakashipu was supposedly. And I didn't go to that location, but I was invited, but I didn't have time. But the ashram was incredibly, amazingly beautiful. But I think about 7 people die a year at that, where those 2 rivers meet. That's what I was told recently. I don't know if it's every year, but and that's the year that a previous year that even one of the devotees, one gentleman, he came there to help to set up some kind of food factory. They were going to sell products that the children can help make and as support the ashram. And one of them, he went swimming because it looks so beautiful, but the current is so strong that it pulls you in and you don't realize it, just you get sucked into it. It's very dangerous.
Hare Krishna. All right, we learned something.
I'll be quiet now, sorry.
Okay, Jaina, but please be careful while you drive. First priority, see the road, don't see us. Hare Krishna. I wasn't
looking at you, Maharaj. I was looking at the road, but I was just thinking of the story.
Okay. I shouldn't ever comment on anyone's driving. But we do have a Bengali devotee who drove me one time, and my goodness, he always wanted to look at who he was seeing, and there were 2 devotees in the back seat, and he always turning around and like talking to them for ages like this and driving down the road. And sweet Bengali devotee, very good heart, all these things. But I have to say, he helped me surrender to Krishna. And I thought, anyhow. Govinda, Govinda, Rupa Vilas Prabhu, big welcome. Radha Sundari Devi Dasi, big welcome. And Deva Priya Devi Dasi, big welcome. So very happy to have some of our rarer guests with us today. We rotate around our rarer guests, but today we're fortunate to have each of you with us. And Jivana Devi gave us a beautiful contribution from Guru Maharaj about Prahlad Maharaj, very relevant for the moment. And also we have Chinmoy Dev Prabhu. So if I may ask to Chinmoy Dev Prabhu, because we don't see you all the time, Sundays you're doing the not broadcast maybe, but the showing of the video, maybe it's also a broadcast, I'm not sure, in SoCal, for SoCal Ashram. But do you have something in your pocket, Chinmoy Dev Prabhu, to share with us today?
Maybe a question I do have.
Okay. Got lots of devotees here who may be able to help answer. Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I am the enjoyer and rewarder of all sacrifices. So I'm kind of interested because there are many people who are doing sacrifices for material benefit. So is he, and there's people who are doing sacrifices for the demigods. So, or sacrifices even just for their own personal benefit. So I'm just wondering about that statement.
Well, in the actual sacrifice part, when they know they're doing it as a sacrifice to the devas, for instance, then Krishna also says in the Gita that they are actually worshipping me, but indirectly, because the demigods are getting their power from Krishna too. So ultimately, everything is Krishna. Nothing is separated from him. Now it becomes a little more remote when people are doing sacrifice, which is not even for a god. In other words, in the Western world, I mean, people sacrifice their time, their energy, their social life, their lots of things in order to get their education, to fulfill their desire to be a doctor, to be an airline pilot or whatever profession. I mean, really, a lot of sacrifice. And the obvious sacrifice is those who are sportsmen, who every day, go beating their body in order to try and get more and more out of the body. They sacrifice so many things. That kind of sacrifice is more difficult to say, oh, Krishna is the enjoyer of that. But I believe that part of the Gita is mentioning about sacrifice for the devas. I'll have to stretch my thinking to think how Krishna is the enjoyer of a sports person who is trying to run a 3-minute mile. And in fact, there is elsewhere where it says that due to ignorance, and the ignorant living entity is causing suffering to the soul and the super soul within the body. Is that right? No, the body and the soul. And sometimes we think, how is it causing suffering to the soul? No, he's not causing suffering to the super soul. Cannot be. But causing suffering for the body and for the within the body. Anybody like to share some light on how Krishna could possibly be the enjoyer of the sacrifice that a sportsman makes? Probably by making Krishna laugh, thinking, so you are trying to run a 3-minute mile, are you? What a waste of time. But a kind of a funny laugh, that one, isn't it? But did you notice in the Srimad Bhagavatam describing about Nrsingadev's appearance? I mean, Nrsingadev is Krishna, and he says there about Nrsingadev's laughter, says shrill laughter. So I was trying to also harmonize this with him being half a lion, that his laughter was shrill laughter. Many things we just happily read and we can't exactly put together. But yes, about the devas, more understandable, that Krishna is actually the enjoyer of all sacrifice. Everything is going to him. All rasa, all taste, all flavor ultimately comes to Krishna. Nothing is separate from him. Would maybe Paramanand would like to give a little insight to this question?
Maharaj, I didn't get the question. Well, more like Chinmoy Prabhu, he just stated the shloka and asked to comment on it. But what is exactly the question in that shloka or about that shloka? How is Krishna enjoying the results of the sacrifices done by everybody? Right. Well, if you read Bhagavad Gita further, then Krishna answers that question, because as we know, in Bhagavad Gita, he describes all sorts of yoga. And yoga can also be interpreted as some engagement, some practices in general, also something that connects us, ultimately connects us to reality. So if we read further, then closer to the end of Bhagavad Gita, it's becoming more clear. And Krishna says, Yat karoshi, yat ashnasi, yat juhoshi dadasi, yat tapasasi kauntiya, tat kurushva madarpanam. He said, in general, let's just make it short. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you acquire, whatever you produce, tapasya, sacrifices, do it as offering to me. Tat kurushva madarpanam. And then continuing, manmana bhava mat bhakto mate jimam namaskuru mam evashisi satyante pratijame priyosame. Become my devotee. Dedicate, give yourself fully to me. Then we go further towards the very end. Sarvadharma paritijam mamekam sharanam vraja. Here is the statement. Give up everything, whatever you do. Give yourself exclusively to my service. So naturally, and then we go to Chatur Shloki. There's so many places. What is it? Maharaj, what's the first of Chatur Shloki?
Aham sarvasya prabhavo.
Here you go. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matag sarvam prapakati. Iti matva pajantumam. What's the last verse? What's the last line, Maharaj?
Buddha bhava
Buddha
samanvita.
bhava samanvita. Here you go. So I'm the source of everything. So ultimately, whatever happens in this world, it's serving one purpose, satisfying me. You may think you're enjoying, you may think you're getting some results. And yes, you will get some results, you will get some karma, bad karma, good karma, but ultimately I am the enjoyer. So that statement will be moved further towards the end of Bhagavad Gita, after Krishna, being fair to everybody, explains all sorts of engagement. Buddha yoga, karma yoga, jnana yoga, that yoga, this yoga. And then he says, give it all up at the end. Srila Gurudev, in Revealed Truth, he's giving this comment. He says, it always amazes me when Krishna says, reject everything, give up everything. And he said, not just sometime I'm reading, oh, it's amazing. No, he said, perpetually it is amazing. Amazes me. I'm always amazed on that. Reject all the Vedic scriptures. He said that a pure devotee of mine, he engages exclusively in my service, giving up the Vedic scriptures, injunctions of the Vedic scriptures. He is giving that up completely. And that verse that was said by Madhavendra Puri, and Srila Gurudev liked it so much, especially towards the conclusion of his Leela. What is it? Sandhyavandanam Bhadramastu Bhavato Bosnana Tubhyam Namo Bodevas Pidarasya Karpana Vidho Naham Kshamam Kshamyatam. That verse. He's saying that I'm offering my respectful obeisances to all the ritual oblations, the ritual baths, and please forgive, oh demigods, forgive me, oh ancestors, please do forgive me, but I don't think it's necessary to do anything anymore. Besides fixing my mind on the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, the enemy of Kamsa. And I think, and he's making the last statement, I think this is enough for me. But please forgive me for not doing properly all the rituals and all the sacrifices and everything that is prescribed by the Vedas. So again, like yesterday and today probably, there was a Buddha Purnima. So whatever we're looking at, anything whatsoever in this world, we're trying to see from the perspective, how is it connected to Krishna? How does it serve Krishna? And this is what Jivanaditi said in the beginning, acquiring proper angle of vision. The Guru Maharaj said that. Really, we hear it often from his followers, like the Swami Maharaj. His disciples sometimes write him email and say, Maharaj, how can I serve you? And he's always answering, please try to acquire proper angle of vision. So this is what we're doing. And that's the proper angle of vision. How we see everything around us. How can you see Buddha? Like when Srila Gurudev came to Thailand and he went to the Buddhist temple, and Chinmoy probably remembers that. There was a question, are we going to put the photographs of Gurudev doing dandavats in front of the Buddha statues and was talking to Buddhist monk online? Maybe others will say something, oh, how is that possible? Vaishnava Acharya is doing some worship in the Buddhist temple. Gurudev just immediately he just refuted this argument. He's saying that these people, they're doing something good for the world. And it is all related to Krishna. So what are your questions? What are you asking? So we're seeing from that perspective. Lord Shiva, again, Srila Gurudev directs us, Devadi Deva Mahibhushanam Indukasham, how we see Lord Shiva, how we see Lord Indra, how we see anybody. So the proper angle of vision. We started from that, today's conversation, so we can forever continue acquiring that. And it's very dynamic and it's always changing as we're diving deeper and deeper. Like Srila Guru Maharaj's explanation of the last sloka of Bhagavad Gita, Sarvadharam Paritijas Mamekam Sharanam Braja. He says Braja is the direction, is the destination, but at the same time he's saying it's act, means dive deep, go deeper, do not stop. And that happens, of course, by the grace of the Vaishnavas who are helping us to acquire that proper angle of vision. That's why we're all gathering together, we're listening. And if we don't want to acquire, Vaishnavas are very merciful. there in a very affectionate and loving way, forcing us to acquire that. Anyhow, Maharaj.
And we have to say we're all in a work in progress. Well, okay, we are all. I am, and I think this is the common feeling. We're all in the work in progress of trying to adjust to the proper angle of vision, trying to understand what it is, and then trying to do it. We get a little glimpse of what it is sometimes, maybe, but doing it and keeping it, that glimpse going, then that is the challenge, one of the challenges for us all in this world. But that's actually the angle of vision. If our ego and our anarthas and all the coverings that are there over our soul, if they're all cleaned away, the proper angle of vision is we are a devotee of Lord Krishna. It's amazing. And that's what Guru Maharaj says. If we clean and clean and clean and clean, what's left? What is left? And when everything is gone, a devotee, that's who we are. But don't forget that there are 7, well, or do remember, whatever it is, there are 7 coverings of the universe. And each of those coverings is 7 times thicker than the previous one. And the last covering is false ego, ahankar. Then we think, oh my goodness, that must be very thick.
I remember Maharaj Gurudev was saying, word ahankar doesn't mean just ego. It means the whole world of misconception. It's so wide and broad. Of course, not as wide and broad as the spiritual conceptions, but we have to somehow overcome that.
And another expression of Guru Maharaj, you can correct me, I do have it noted, but not exactly in front of me. Guru Maharaj saying about how Krishna consciousness, I forget the exact, could you remember? And then Guru Maharaj saying Krishna consciousness, like something to do with the proper angle of vision. And you would do well to become acquainted with
it is in your interest to get acquainted with that.
It is in your interest to become acquainted, like with what is the proper angle of Krishna vision, of Krishna consciousness. So we are trying to become acquainted with that and never think that we know it. That's another thing. Hare Krishna. But still we can see well, I can say here, see the pictures of Gurudev and Srila Prabhupada and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. 2 pictures side by side. Looking in the temple room, just almost like thinking, well, look, here in the Western world, they're trying. Look at these kindergarten kids trying to follow some devotional program like that. We can think, well, our guardians are there. They are not thinking. I mean, we must try to know it, that they are there watching, and we should try to do the right thing. Everything that has come from them. Without the connection of the Vaishnavas, none of us know, well, none of us, especially those of us who come really from no idea of Krishna consciousness until we're in our mid-20s. Then we'll be nowhere.
Prahlada Maharaj, he was addressing in his teachings to the schoolmates, he's saying, my friends, O sons of demons. He is underlying that situation. So you must get it as soon as possible.
And many of the things that are there, we think, oh, this is in an ancient time and everyone was like demons, with, I don't know, spikes coming out of their head or something like this. But you read the descriptions, it sounds very much like the 21st century planet Earth to me, a lot of the things which are there. And as we're together, I would very much like to ask, I saw Deva Priya Devidansi, very good to have you with us from San Jose. And actually, this whole back to basics has been revived from California, Washington, Florida, but come from America. And Deva Prediri, if you'd like to make a little contribution of something towards our program on these subjects, or as you like for our nourishment, we'd be very happy to hear from you.
That's so sweet of you, Maharaj. Thank you. Sorry, I'm not appearing in camera because I'm cooking here and cleaning, so I'm not proper. But I don't know what can I say about. I was thinking, like, everyone come here in this world to have some certain experience, and that experience, whatever it is, negative or positive, it's given back to Krishna, and then he creates even more experiences later for someone else or for us. So I don't know, he just goes in like that, in the cycles, or I don't know, in frequencies. That, I don't know, does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. Yesterday I was reminded about, in a purport in maybe Bhagavatam, but Srila Prabhupada mentioning about the creation. In the creation, the living entities, when they want to join, want to enjoy separately from Krishna, then Krishna gives unlimited kinds of bodies for them to enjoy in. So you can try, okay, you can be a duck. No, a duck is a happy life. Whenever it rains, you can enjoy in the rain. You can be, you know, all kinds of animals. You can be a high-flying bird and look down on the world. You can be a fish. You can be a dog looked after by devoted humans, whatever it may be. Anyway, all sorts of things you can be. But actually, about the devoted humans, then after the creation, after creating all the species and everything and their places to live, then Krishna created the humans as a way for this enjoying cycle to be finished. So coming and going, like you're mentioning, this coming and going waves. Then when we've basically finished trying to enjoy in this world, or come to a little bit of good sense, then we can get the human body, which is our way out of birth and death, birth and death. So this...
Maharaj, is interesting that you said, I was cooking and I wanted to hear Goswami's Maharaj talk from Nrsimhadev's appearance on YouTube. I haven't seen, but then on YouTube gave me option, and it's your video. It says, "Why did God make man?"
All right.
So
that's
you
what...
came, and I remember you're tonight giving Zoom class. So I came back, and it's now on my YouTube, like you sitting on the steps, and Prabhu also is there. So why did God make man? And you just said that. It's so interesting.
Jai.
So just to tell to devotees, there is a video, short video, Maharaj talking, why did God make man? It's on YouTube. So
right. I don't know how far some of these things are distributed, but from Thailand, then Priyanana and the group there, then they were with us and they took lots of photographs. And yesterday they sent me many photos. I'm just looking through to see. And then some videos from the time of visiting Nrsimhadev's temple, the Varaha Nrsimha temple in Simachalam, if I've got
yes, Simachalam temple, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Paramananda is there with you too.
Yeah. And a little puppy dog.
Yes.
And at the very beginning today, just a few of us were together, we did mention that also Guru Maharaj, in a class which was linked yesterday on scsmat.com, then Guru Maharaj mentioned his going to that temple in the 1930s. But he did mention there are 1,200 steps. And on one of those videos that they posted, it says only 1,000 steps. Oh dear. But it's 1,200 steps.
Maharaj, add to that. Remember, I was super sick. I was flat on the bed for 2 days. And I'm hoping, oh, maybe Madhusudan Maharaj will be merciful to me and will postpone our going to the temple for one more day so that I could recover. Didn't happen.
Oh,
But
dear.
then I got full realization of that verse. Mukham karochi vachalam pangumlan gayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurun dinataranam. He said, let's go. And really, I couldn't stand up straight, Maharaj. You remember that?
I do.
And I decided, okay, if I'm going to pass away on the way to the Narasimha temple, which Mahaprabhu visited, Guru Maharaj visited, established by Prahlad Maharaj, following the footsteps of Madhusudan Maharaj, then what can be more glorious? So somehow, by his grace, really, there is no explanation otherwise. I got up, dressed up, and followed. And I didn't remember, I didn't count the steps. I was too afraid to count them. I just followed Maharaj.
I don't think any of us actually counted the steps, but we hear from authority, and what better authority than Guru Maharaj. But the other temple that he mentioned was maybe a Hovalam temple, and he said it is there. At that time, it was all jungle, and the priest, one priest, he would come once a day, offer something to Nrsimhadev, and flee away out of fear of the animals. And he mentions
Jada Narasimha Maharaj.
Virad.
Jada Narasimha.
Oh, Jada Narasimha. And where is that?
Ahovalam and Simhachalam, they're the same, just different names of one place.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, there we are. After being there, it's still
Jada
running.
Narasimha.
And Guru Maharaj mentions the Padapit, which are there in Simachalam, at the temple at the top of the hill, that established by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and how he and Bon Maharaj were the advance party for establishing the Padapit, the footprints of Mahaprabhu. Yes, proper angle of vision. And Rupa Vilas Prabhu, okay, Dandabat, from all the way from the Philippines. Prabhu, would you like to help us acquire the proper angle of vision? But unmute your microphone. Click. Click. Yes.
Dandavat to everyone. It's nice to be back again. After a month of in vacation, actually, I just got connected with the internet. Everything's all right. We lost the connection from it. I'm here actually to attend the lectures, to relearn everything. What else can I contribute? I was reading something this morning from the book Sermons of the Guardian Devotion, Volume 4, with the title With Sincerity to Safety. And I would like to say this thing, if you may allow me, please.
Yes.
Guru Maharaj.
Happily.
Yes. And Sri Guru Maharaj says, Partanda iveha na mutra vinasastasya vidyate nahi kalyana hirt kaschit dugatin tatagachati. And he says, for one who is sincere in his activity, he not be afraid of anything because the Lord will be his guide. Through Gurudev also, the inner guide is he. By his direction, all these things are being done. The final touch of hand is really supreme. And this can be realized through sadhu sangha. And this very moment, I am relishing this very moment of associating with you. And since coming back, again, I've learned so many things. Thank you very much. Though that word is not enough to express my gratitude to each one of you. Dandavat. The most.
Jai Rupa Vilas Prabhu, Dandavat Prabhu, and We are all joyful to hear your words from the heart with sincerity. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
You survived 1 month with no internet.
Oh,
When the internet goes down for 1 hour in many places, people are going, huggle.
the Lord is being merciful. I was able to survive for many years. I'm still alive and kicking.
Right, we survived for all our life until the internet came.
And I'm very
In Navadip, then the Mahananda Sanghita, the Mahananda Shastra, whatever it is, instructions in Navadip. No illicit sex, no intoxication, meat eating, gambling, and no internet. I mean, really, we saw it was like an intoxication. And we had, honestly, very like senior, sensible, sober, peaceful devotees becoming quite disturbed when on the second day they can't get internet. And by the third day, everybody's going on a pilgrimage to Mayapur to get the internet connection from ISKCON. I gotta go. Hare Krishna. I'm sure it was for service. But really, we saw that, and we must be careful about that ourselves. But we have so much wealth without the internet, but we have one great wealth with the internet. That is, we do have this opportunity of association. And yesterday, I was very happy to associate with some senior devotees, senior sensible devotees who have not actually met for many years. And another devotee arranged a gathering, and really so happy to be with sensible senior devotees in the background, but so like you sing, sincere, their sincerity running on, and very happily. Hare Krishna. And welcome to Madhavi Devi Dasi in Colombia. Welcome to Nirupama Devi Dasi in Ukraine. Radha Sundari, we greeted, I think, already in Navadip. And also Anukul Chandra Prabhu, and there in America, and in, I think the state is still California, up on the side of the hill in his home there, we remember very happily. And also Braja Mohini Didi, who may be in Florida or maybe in Salt Lake City or California, but she's with us here also, with us on Facebook, and maybe some others, because I know not everybody shows up on Facebook as such. So good to have you all with us. Would anyone like to make a contribution or a question? Nrsingadev, Prahlad Maharaj, Hiranyakashipu, Buddha, adjustment to the environment. And what is, yes, come, Didi.
One thing I'm reminded of that's so nourishing and regarding adjusting our vision, that Srila Guru Maharaj said that when you can see that only you are at fault, your days in this world are numbered. So it can be incredibly difficult, a big challenge to not find fault or try to change the environment, but that's quite compelling, good reward to have our days numbered.
And it's reality. It's not just, oh, let's pretend so we can be more serious. It's reality. And by the way, I just clicked the chat, and here, so Pranesh has given us the quotation from Navadip Dham Mahatmya, the land of sweetness. So this is Guru Maharaj. Yes, coming to Guru Maharaj here. This is part of Navadip Dham Mahatmya, which has got some questions and answers, some comments from Guru Maharaj. It's not the actual book part, but some transcription which has been added in to help us to understand Navadip Dham, etc. So the question is, since I am now in Navadip, what special service is very important to do while I am here? So the devotee is asking this to Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rakha Dev Goswami Maharaj, and Srila Guru Maharaj answers, acquire the proper angle of vision. This is most important everywhere. Only we are to acquire the proper angle of vision, a new eye, Dibya Drishti, divine vision. Diksha, initiation, means Dibya Drishti, to pierce through our prejudiced estimation, okay, to pierce through our prejudiced estimation and have a proper view into the reality of things. That is what is necessary everywhere. Sadhana, spiritual practice, as a whole means that realization. We must die to live. To have a spiritual life, we will have to die as we are at present. The whole mental system has to be dissolved. It is full of nothing but misunderstanding and prejudices gathered from a selfish standpoint. Everything we know has been estimated from a selfish standpoint, be it very meager or extended selfishness. And a little bit more, the standpoint of a country or a nation means extended selfishness. Then Guru Maharaj got a quote, I am not selfish. I stand for the cause of my country. Someone may speak this way, but such a conception is actually extended selfishness. In the infinite, what is the meaning or value of that extension of a country? It has no meaning. We are to acquire nothing less than an infinite standpoint, an angle of vision into the infinite. Hare Krishna. And then I see a question from Chintamani and maybe Jayadev, but from her address to everyone, how to increase our taste for chanting japa. Meditate on what we just heard is one of the good tips. That's there Guru Maharaj said, sadhana as a whole means that realization, divya drishti, to pierce through our prejudiced estimation, have a proper view into the reality of things. Hare Krishna, wonderful. And this is why we are here, to hear the glories, but to hear the teachings, to connect with the teachings of Guru Maharaj, Gurudev, Srila Prabhupada, of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And yesterday, or today, depending where you are, in another class, means posted by Jamuna Priya on absolute sweetness, Guru Maharaj saying there, of course, Gurudev, Srila Govinda Maharaj saying that, of course, many wonderful things, but it says Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math is a monument to Srila Guru Maharaj. I mean, wonderful talks. Of course, wonderful talks. No talk is not wonderful, but it's not that we've heard everything, or actually it's not that we've heard everything and remembered everything we've heard, because definitely sometimes we're listening to a recording and just thinking, oh, it's amazing, amazing. And then suddenly, I hear Mahananda saying something. So Mahananda was there. But, it is just like, oh my goodness, I was there and I heard this. Did I hear this? Hare Krishna. If only we can be Shrutida. Hare Krishna. My question, not Jayadev's, okay, Chintamani Didi, is Chintamani's question, how to increase our taste for chanting japa. Who would like to give a tip from their own life, how to increase our taste for chanting japa?
There is Rupanuga Prabhu who wants to share, Maharaj.
Jai,
Yes.
Rupanuga Prabhu.
Well, a tip for me in enjoying japa is repeating it with a big smile on my face. And I'm sure that's what it means when you say chant and be happy, because I notice a total difference when I'm chanting with a smile on my face than when I'm just chanting seriously. But I do have a question, if I may. Last night I was enjoying an auspicious occasion here where I overlooked the mountain and I experienced the lunar eclipse, but I was contacted by a devotee who said it was not a good thing to observe the lunar eclipse. And I just wonder what your comment is on that.
If you were chanting Hare Krishna and chanting
I
your
was.
japa, okay,
I was.
then
I
it
was.
is a good thing. But in general, yes, there are, as we know, auspicious places, and you can say some inauspicious places. And there are auspicious people, inauspicious people, and auspicious time, inauspicious time, auspicious circumstance, like that. There are gradations of good and bad, auspicious, inauspicious, favorable, unfavorable. And in general, then the eclipse is considered that this is inauspicious. And there are some reasons given for this, both astrologically, both Western astrology, Eastern astrology. But don't forget that Mahaprabhu appeared during a lunar eclipse. So, everything has its right, proper our proper angle of vision. So anything which is going to increase our tendency to chant, anything amazing that we see that makes us reflect, then we will take it in a favorable way, such things. But it is given in the scripture that yes, when there is a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse, we try to stay in particular remembrance of the Lord, because they are regarded as inauspicious times. And it is true. It is given in that way. And we've seen also that Gurudev also, he observed that in the sense of generally would try to avoid to travel at inauspicious times, including times like that. And devotees, when there was a big eclipse in Navadip, not a small eclipse, but a major eclipse, then he'd have to say to the devotees, so you be in the temple and you chant kirtan. What can harm anybody in the kirtan? And somehow in India, subtle things seem to work much more directly than they do around the world. I mean, around the world, many things happen. And even Gurudev didn't refer or hardly referred to the almanac, means the calendar for auspicious and inauspicious times, etc. He hardly referred to that in the West, and even commented when devotees said, oh, in India, you are looking at the almanac much, but not in the West. He said, yes, in the West, this is not working. This is working for India. Because I think the Western world is so kind of covered with this, thick, sinful environment that, a little less or a little more sinful is hardly having an effect. But India, things do seem to be very much on the surface. And even I was reminded, Paramanand was saying about how difficult his health was when we made that pilgrimage just last year. But somehow, India, everything is so much on the surface. And so things are taken more seriously. But yes, it's an inauspicious time. And so when we know, then what you were doing, which is chanting japa, engaging in kirtan, remembering the Lord, then this is very good. And one thing about the eclipse, which does come to mind, is like how amazing the whole universe is, the tiny bit that we can see. Then anything that helps us to understand that we are not alone in this world, and that we are a part, we are a tiny living entity in one part of a big whole, which, as Srila Prabhupada repeatedly says in the Srimad Bhagavatam commentaries, etc., that the whole universe, the planets are all floating perfectly. They're not bumping into each other. Everything is created perfectly. And then when we look in a general way, it's amazing. When we look in a finer way, it's amazing. Not only the lunar eclipse or the solar eclipse, but we know that the planets, or those who study it know that the planets do have effect. The different planets have different effects, and then different constellations in the sky have different effects. And maybe it was Newton or Einstein, one of those great thinkers, who, brilliant persons, but in their last time, in the later part of their life, after their scientific discoveries, mathematic discoveries, and so many things, then they are taking great interest in astrology. And he was being mocked by some of the scientists. Oh, this is not a tangible thing. Why are you looking at stuff like this? This is not real, what we can touch. And then his reply, whichever one it was, his reply was, I have studied it, you have not. So those who know it, and that doesn't mean now we're going to go out and study it. We have faith. Those who study it, they see the effect of Saturn of this, the effect of the moon is this, the effect of Jupiter is this. When this such and such combination, these things happen. But this, again, that's coming to the more subtle part. And in this material world, we got so many trees. We were in one place, and one of the devotees there was pointing this tree and said, actually, every single plant has a medicinal value. Then when we start to see how nature all works in harmony, then we can think it's amazing from every angle. So anything that reminds us of this amazingness, and where's the amazingness all come from? From Krishna. Where did our half man and half jungle creature come from? Half man and half jungle creature, Nrsingadev. Where did he come from? He's come from amazing Krishna. Things are astounding. So we haven't, we have answered, given some clue to Chintamani for her chanting japa. And by the way, that's the first time I've ever heard anybody give us such a practical and good tip as you just gave, Rupanuga Prabhu, to chant japa with a smile on our face. That's wonderful. Hare Krishna. And I can just mention to the devotees about Rupanuga Prabhu. He came to Krishna consciousness. He came to Gurudev and Guru Maharaj's family. I mean, after seeing everything in this world, I mean, we don't want to say your whole history of living on planet Earth, but he's come as a mature person and he's seen everything of this world. He lives in Yukai, which is, the place of all spiritualists and all kind of things in Australia. And he's seen everything, met all kinds of persons. He's come very consciously to Krishna consciousness. And this also, it is very valuable that we like conscious. Yes, here we've got the substance of life, the substance of the direction of life. And so we are very pleased to have you on board. In the university, it was not they considered, it was considered that what they called the mature students, those who were joining the university when they were like 30 years old or 35 years old like this, that they were considered to be like the serious students because they've already been in the world, they know what's out there, and they're coming focused. Okay, I'm going to get this degree for this purpose. Like now they've got to focus. They're not just drifting along doing what's expected of them. So we can get much encouragement when somebody also joins who's seen the world and then think, yes, here is my focus. But however we come to the family, it is wonderful. But I can mention this. So we get inspiration from Rupa Nuga Prabhu.
Maharaj, not to forget to underline the point that it all happened to Rupa Nuga Prabhu through the agent. And you know who was that? Again, by the grace of the devotee, he got the connection. He was ripe for that. But again, there was a grace of the devotee. Abhinava Sundar Prabhu, who was working for Rupa Nuga Prabhu. Rupa Nuga Prabhu was the boss of Abhinava Sundar.
Still
Slowly,
is.
it was just a matter of time when it would happen. And it did happen. Of course, Maharaj, by your grace and everything else. And actually, that reminded on Chintamani's question, that reminded how sweetly Srila Gurudev explained that once. He's saying, just like the bhakti can be acquired only from the one who possesses bhakti. So in a similar way, the faith can be acquired from the faithful. So the taste can be acquired from one who is actually experiencing that taste. So the devotee, and Srila Gurudev said, and this is a fundamental principle in our life as the devotees, the association. That's where it all starts. That's where it's all not ends, but continue forever.
Jai.
Maharaj, I know it's very late, but do you have the time to answer to Gouda Haridas on Facebook? He's asking, what good advice could we get from Hiranyakashipu, Maharaj?
And whose question is it?
Gouda Haridas.
Oh, Gaura Hari Prabhu. Okay. So I don't know why I can't see you on Facebook, but I don't see list. But Praneshri, she's got special vision. Her angle of vision is very special. So yes, Gaura Hari Prabhu. First of all, happy to have you with us. If I'd known, I would have also given you a mention. And Kitty Kadamba is with us. So okay, very welcome too. That I can see. So Gaura Haripu's question, please just remind us, Praneshwari, what is his question?
What good advice could we get from Hiranyakashipu?
What advice will we get from Hiranyakashipu? From Hiranyakashipu. Well, I'll go for the advice of by seeing his life, don't be averse to Lord Krishna. I mean, there's one advice, but I'm trying to think of an instruction, if you like to say. Like in the case of Ravana, he did give some advice on how to rule the kingdom, etc. But an advice from Hiranyakashipu, I'm meditating for a moment. And who can we put on the spot and ask for some advice from Hiranyakashipu? Well, we can put Seva Didi on the spot.
That is a really good question, I think, because I can't find an answer. But I think don't let your false ego overtake you. I don't know. But I'm also thinking of how he initially got that position. I think I don't know whether it was Jai or Vijay or which one, but how they, even being in a negative position, they were still serving Krishna, and to the best that they could. I mean, he was so notorious. So that's the only thing that comes to mind.
Right. And as a devotee, again, not wanting to be separated from the Lord, he had the choice of maybe 7 lives as a devotee or 3 lives as a demon, perhaps, if I've got the numbers right. But the pair of them, they had this choice, you know, but they said, oh, we can't bear to be separated, so we want to come back quickly. If that means we got to be as demons, and okay, we'll come as demons. So that we can learn, that the devotee doesn't want any extra separation from the Lord, however comfortable it may be. They'd rather take the post of a demon and come back quickly. But the actual advice that Nrsingadev gave, even with Seva-Rupa giving us an extra few minutes to think of the answer, I can't think of a one-liner or an instruction that Nrsingadev, that Hiranyakashipu gave.
Maharaj, you were reading it the other day.
I read the whole 7th canto in 2 days for the first time ever in my life.
You were reading the few shlokas that describing the thoughts of Hiranyakashipu. He is thinking. Why is Prahlada Maharaj is so powerful? So I think there you will find the answer. Because there are some revelations in his mind for a short period of time, where he is accepting that and he's thinking, oh, I think I will have to forfeit my life if I go further with, you know, whatever I'm doing. But, and then he changed, but maybe not, it's not going to happen. So there you will find the answer.
Well, if Gora Hari is there with you, maybe he's testing us and he has the answer. Praneshwari, you can drop him a little note. Or because for some reason I can't see you on Facebook, I do have it open. Gora Hari Prabhu, type a little note on Facebook so we can know the answer. See how close we got. How many marks out of 10 we got. I got 0, or maybe half. But we can't judge ourselves. Aha, there's another thing. We can't judge ourselves. Anyway, we have much to learn from his behavior, but I little bit stretched to think an instruction he gave. Dear devotees, wonderful things. I could bring up some questions too, but we'll keep them from another time because the time has ticked along very rapidly. And I found staying in Italy that really time goes extremely rapidly. I don't know if this is unique to being in Italy. I think it's being in the world that it is such a nature. So let us all continue with the proper angle of vision, with our thoughts in the right direction, our journey in the right direction. And let's remember something of everybody's contribution, that our days are numbered, all of these things that we've heard. And let us come forward. And Rupa Vilas Prabhu's heart contribution, Prabhu, we are very happy having you with us. Guru Maharaj's disciple, through thick and thin, steady soul, and we are very pleased to have your association, Prabhu. And to each of you, Devi, our quiet Madhavi this week, our quiet Radha Sundari this week, quiet Nirupama, who's in the kitchen already, very early to be in the kitchen, 6:15 in Govinda land, which is preparing breakfast for Mahaprabhu, Giriraj, and the Vaishnavas. And to all of you, and on Facebook, to each of you, to the devotees, happy to have you with us. Let us try to continue steadily chanting japa with a smiling face. Let's see how we get on this week. And chant Hare Krishna, be happy. Jai.
Jai Shri.
Jai Shri Guru Maharaj ki jai, Shri Guru Dev ki jai, Shri Rupanuga Guru Vaga ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Saraswati Acharya Brinda ki jai, Namacharya Shila Haridas Thakur ki jai. And today for
Mm.
America at least,
That's
Buddha
imagine.
Purnima, Lord Buddha ki jai, Srinivasa Acharya's appearance ki jai, and Parameshwari Das Thakur's disappearance, associate of Nityananda ki jai. Nitai Gaur
Shri
Premanande
Bhakti
Hari
Madhusudana
Hari.
Maharaj ki jai.
Oh,
Jai,
Vansha
jai.
Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat, dear devotees, I leave you together. Hare Krishna.
Pranamas,
Nitai
Maharaj.
Gaura.
Thank you
Dandavat
so
Maharaj.
much.
Dandavat, Dandavat.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Ashchi, Ami Ashchi.